ABC 7 business commentator Richard Stern joins us now with us yet another quiet day on Wall Street. Richard?
Very quiet, Scott, and that's been the case all week long. And the reason for it is really quite simple. There's a World Economic Conference going on all week long in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, a tough place to have to go. I think that's a boondoggle if you call it. But anyway, Janet Yellen, the chair of the Federal Reserve Board, will be the featured speaker tomorrow. Many people think she will give a clue as to whether we will or will not see any increases in interest rates between now and the end of the calendar year. Certainly with an election coming up, people think if there will be an increase at all, it could be September and not closer than that to Election Day. So we'll see how that turns out. But let's look at yet another quiet day on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, there you see it was down by 33 points, not even 0.2%, closing at 18,448.41 on extremely light volume of 419 million shares. The NASDAQ, believe it or not, down 2 days in a row for only the second time in 2 months, down 5.5 points, 0.1%, closing at 5,212.20. That on volume of 1,386 million shares. The S&P down as well, down by, as you see, just barely over 0.1%, less than 3 points at 2,172.47. Well, perhaps this bag looks familiar. I know Haley's familiar with it, right? It's Robin's Egg Blue, I'm sorry, from Tiffany's. And why? Well, Tiffany today, its stock jumped by more than 6% after the company said that even though its sales declined slightly, they had made so much money by cutting costs that their earnings were far ahead of expectations. Total sales around the world were declining, but in Japan, sales were higher. The one place they saw an increase in sales as well as earnings. And as I say, the stock was up 6% today, but prior to today, the stock had been down 17% year to date. So at least they got that back a little bit, but it's not been a good year for Tiffany's. And as I say, the stock went up, but sales are definitely down.
And Richard, to another luxury brand, one I like to admire from afar and dream about, Jimmy Choo.
Well, Haley, there's a rumor that the stock was up today also 6% because you had been buying so many pairs of shoes. I don't know. I understand that Mr. Choo's shoes are rather expensive, but somebody's buying them because sales were way ahead of forecast. And as I say, the stock was up by more than 6%.
Unfortunately, that was not me. It's still, like I said, on my dream list, but one day I'll be contributing to that.
Good for you.
Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome.